Hi everybody, this is Iyawo from Iyawo, and I'm here making a video for all of you guys, and this video is a little interesting because this is the first ever interview for the channel on Orisha, and today we're going to be interviewing my godson, Angel Chimelis, who has Oya crowned, and he is right now a Iyawo, which is a new initiate of the religion. This is a very interesting interview that we're doing because we're going to be getting his perspective on certain topics and on certain questions on the religion as an adult in America who has to work and has to dress in white and has to wear beads and has to wear bangles and has to cover his head and has to walk around with a umbrella in the middle of the day. So this is going to be a very interesting interview.
Yes, indeed.
So, as you guys can see, all you see is his hands, because we have, in Ocha, we have a taboo for the new initiates, the Yawoses, that they should not be photographed or videotaped, etc., etc. Now, that taboo is obviously changing with the modern times, that everything is done by recording, that everything's done through video, that everything's done through messaging, that everything's done. So there's a lot of people taking pictures, there's a lot of people taking videos, there's a lot of people taking everything. And in order to do this interview, I asked them that we only record his hands, or that only his hands show, and his voice, to kind of maintain that privacy for him of his persona, and also to maintain privacy of the taboo to some extent. In different houses, there may be different opinions on what can be taken picture of and what cannot, and I personally have seen all sorts of pictures of everything by now online, so it just goes to show that there's a transition and an expansion going on with the practices and the taboos and everything in the religion. But either way, so thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It is very exciting to do my first interview to an Iyawo, Ovoya on top of that.
Yes.
So tell me who you are and who do you have crowned? What is your title in the religion, please?
Well, I am Angel Chimelis, an Iyawo. My status in the religion is an Iyawo. I have Oya crown. My father is Obatala. My godmother is Iyawo Rodriguez Adebi. My Yubora is yourself. Asilba is Onyade. And yeah, I'm a newly initiated Iyawo, so I am currently in my year in white.
So you initiated when? What date?
August 20th, 2016.
So this year, you will end up having your first year of Ocha.
Right.
And it'll be when you come out of your year in white.
Correct.
Alright, and then you're going to start officially working as a priest of Ocha, and you'll be able to do ceremonies and rituals and go to things and other people's. How do you feel about that?
It's definitely like a sobering experience because the year goes by quick. I mean, the other day I woke up and I was like, oh shit. I mean, it's already halfway through. Like my 6 months is up and it doesn't even feel that way. Like the time passes really, really quickly. You get used to a certain routine, if you will, in your daily life. And so,
it just becomes second nature.
Yeah, it just becomes like second nature. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I'm coming almost to the end of this journey, and in like less than 6 months, I'm gonna have to start, really kind of participating in it, in everything, and doing the work of an Orisha. You're not just gonna be in Iyawo, you're not gonna be babied anymore and kind of coddled in the religion. Like now it's showtime.
Now it's show us what you got type of thing.
Right.
Okay, so tell me, what does Orisha mean to you?
Well, personally, for me, I feel that Orisha, in short, Orisha aligns you with your own space, if you will, in nature. Everybody is made up of energy, and some hotter, some cooler, some more motherly, some more seductive, some more fiery, what have you. And those are essentially what Orishas are. They're deified aspects of nature and of the human condition and of human experience. And so each person sort of kind of falls into, one of those
Patterns.
into one of those patterns of existence, if you will. And so the rites of Ocha help to align you with that, with your higher self, with that aspect of nature that you embody, which is essentially what your Orisha is. It's your, it's that part of nature and the human existence that is divine that led you into this existence. So it's what guides you and what makes you part of the being that you are in this incarnation.
Okay, so yeah, well, tell me, how do you feel that Orisha has changed your life so far since you've known about it, since you started practicing until this point now that you've initiated and you've been involved with other aspects of the religion? How do you feel it's changed your life?
Well, the long and the short of it is that it's helped me find my own kind of center, if you will. It's helped me to really take a good look at myself and find out what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are the things that I can change in my life, and has given me that kind of impetus, if you will, to kind of go forth and make and do what it is that you have to do. And it's also kind of, been a mirror for me to kind of reflect back on myself and see some of the things that I have to change. And it's given me the strength and the valor, if you will, to go and to confront those things day by day. So it's kind of a tool, in a sense, for me to better myself in all aspects, really.
Awesome. So yeah, well, how does your family feel about the religion?
They're not too keen on it. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Pretty much it's just my mom who knows, because she's really like just the only immediate family that I really, have a serious relationship with. So she was hesitant at first because, let's face it, I do come from a conservative Christian background, which is strange in and of itself, being Puerto Rican, since most of us are Catholic. And the religion plays a big part in Latin America, which is kind of the irony of it all. That it's part of our culture. Santeria has ingrained itself in a lot of the daily aspects of regular everyday life, not just in Cuba, but in Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic and what have you. So it's kind of interesting that it's an integral part of our culture, but it's not in my personal family nucleus, if you will. It's not something that's really looked at that great because they come from another background, and that's okay.
You're the first official Santero or Locha in your family that is known of, but that they don't precisely may not know, but
well, yeah,
the first initiated that you may know,
that I may know of personally,
that has been
yes.
initiated in your family. Okay, how do you feel being here in the United States and having to do things around in a place that it's not as normal as Cuba or something to see in Iyawo? Like, what are some of the things you've experienced or ways that you have felt in public with your dressing and everything?
It definitely takes some gumption to do, because, like you said, it's even if you go to places that are a little bit more congested, the truth of the matter is that if you're not in one of the hubs of Santeria, if you will, Miami, New York, Los Angeles, etc., and the religion is very kind of little heard of, then you get some stares, you get some glare downs. I've been asked in public if I was a Muslim, if I were, if I was Jewish or whatever, but in a kind of very defensive type of tone. So in this particular day and age right now, in the present, it is a little scary to be this different. But at the same time, it's very empowering as well to just kind of be able to brush it off and to go on and live your life and not really give two shits
Because
what other people think.
The first 3 months are the toughest.
Right.
That's when you have to wear a lot more of your bangles, a lot more of your leques, your head has to be covered. There's long sleeves. There's a lot of taboos that are attached to the first 3 months.
Right.
And now that you've passed your 3 months and you're actually closer to the finishing line of the first year, how do you feel the first 3 months, the first week that you were by yourself in your city? How did that week feel for you?
Oh my God, it was definitely a sobering experience because I remember like coming back from initiation and going in the middle of the afternoon to Walmart, you know, to get some things, and like people would literally stop in the middle of the aisle and like stare you up and down. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that first week, like there were some moments where I just wanted to kind of run out of public and just kind of go home, but you have to live, you have to do what you have to do. But it's a time that definitely helps you to learn to appreciate and to value your own solitude. And it's a very kind of humbling and centering and peaceful experience, if you will. You know, because at the end of the day, it's you and yourself.
Beautiful, yeah.
And your Orisha.
And your Orisha. Beautiful. So in the religion, we all tend to find our own niche and our own little space and our own little focus of religion. Some people do beadwork, some people do fabric work, and some people do they gather herbs, and some people do animal work, and some people do Oba work, and some people do only spell works and divination, and etc. etc.
Mm-hmm.
What is your niche, or what do you think your future resume would look like in the religion, in the community of Ocha?
Well, I mean, there are definitely areas of the religion that I'm very comfortable with. So one of them being beadwork, definitely. But the other one that, you know, I didn't really give much thought to, but that's just kind of made itself very obvious is alache work, which is the ritual kitchen. Because I've always loved cooking, you know, and it's always been a very kind of prominent hobby for me, and it's just something that I'm good at. So that's definitely going to be one part of the religion that I plan on going into, and a service, you know, just to kind of offer the public, aside from beadwork, which I kind of more or less do for my own orishas and, you know, my own gratification, but I don't really derive any sort of income from it.
So, an alache is the person who's in charge of cooking all the meals for the ceremonies, because there's a lot of meals, especially for events like initiations. There's a lot of meals that have to be cooked for an entire week, especially the first 3 days. And it's the person who cooks the food for the people involved, and the person who cooks the food for the orishas involved. And as a person who's really good in the kitchen, have you made any dishes for your orishas yet, or do you know any dishes for orishas that you may want to be making anytime soon?
I have definitely made a couple of orisha dishes. So it's interesting to kind of delve into that area, because a lot of people don't know about a lot of the essential recipes and the things that the old ones used to cook for their orishas, you know, and, you know, the little balls of nyame and amalaila and things of that nature. So I definitely look forward to that part of orisha cooking as well.
Exploring deeper into that, or making up your own dishes, or
Right.
you know, cooking something interesting. Cooking is definitely a very important aspect, and the person that is cooking in any ceremony is held in high regards, and it's one of the people that gets paid the most throughout any of the ceremonies and throughout any of the things. So definitely you're gonna have menus, and you want to do all these different things
Right.
that we've spoken about, which is very interesting and going to be very elegant and very cheap for any Iyawo to experience. So Iyawo, tell me, where do you see Orisha taking you into the future?
I definitely have some things in the works right now for a relocation to another part of the country, perhaps even out of the country. And with that being said, you know, aside from my work within the religion, I see myself working in a spiritual capacity, just for the mundane world in and of itself, and offering spiritual services that may not necessarily be Santeria related, but that are spiritual services nonetheless. And I think that the best way for me to do that would be through, your traditional kind of root work store, where, you can come and you can find herbs and incenses and sachet powders and candles and things of that nature. So that's
you're eventually opening like a store
Mhm.
and being part of your services that you
Correct.
give.
Right.
Wonderful. Tell me, what do you like the most of the religion?
I love the fact that there's such an extensive oral compendium of lore and patakis and Odu, and there's so many different currents of energy and spiritual currents that are alive within our corpus of our stories and our divination and things of that nature. So it's the depth and the beauty of what we carry with ourselves, with each orisha that is birthed, with each fundamento that you receive. They carry spiritual currents into your life, and each one adds a different layer of depth to you. So the entire process, really, from being an aleo to receiving your warriors and your necklaces and going and getting a lokun and being initiated and then going through the different paths of discovery, that whole climbing process, if you will, is very exciting, and it's very empowering, and it's very satisfying.
Wonderful.
From not just a societal standing, if you will, because you're climbing up the ranks, but you feel that you've acquired a different piece, that you have grown within yourself.
With each stage.
With each stage of progression.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what do you like the least about the religion?
Girl, the politics.
The politics of the religion.
The politics and because of the fact that we're an oral tradition, it's kind of this whole la religión de la palangana donde cada cual hace lo que le da la gana, and so like this person can do whatever the fuck they want to do in the religion and do it the way that they want to do it, and then you can go and turn around and do exactly what the fuck you want to do and do it how you want to do it, and then the other person is going to criticize you because you don't do it the way that they do it, and it just turns into one big clusterfuck. And it's not needless to. It's very needless to carry on with all of that.
There's definitely some other neo-pagan faiths that are the same way, yet they're a lot more accepting of the differences than Orocha seems to be, because every house, every Ile is autonomous. Once it reaches a certain point, it becomes autonomous of the owner of the Ile, and everybody else then has the option and is expected to reach their own autonomous opinion at some point also, and everybody should be encouraged to do so. However, there is some criticism from people to people at certain points and certain times, so that develops into gossip or it develops into quarrels between people, but hopefully at some point those things can also be overcome by all of us. Alright. Would you like to say anything to any future person initiating? Would you like to give any final thoughts in your process, or?
Prepare yourself, really sort of look at yourself and understand the level of commitment that it takes from the time that you cross over that curtain. If I had to do it again, I absolutely would do it, no questions asked. Because I feel that I've been made a stronger person, and that the fears and sort of the anxieties and the demons that you long time had and that you held within yourself, initiation brings that out in you and kind of forces you to confront them. So make sure that you are emotionally prepared for the sort of internal journey that you're going to go through, and that transformation and that sort of rising from the ashes, if you will, because it's a beautiful thing, but it's also very painful. You find out a lot about who your real friends are, about the people that truly care about you, because you do have this sort of forced isolation that you have to follow. So it puts a strain and it puts a testing on your personal relationships as well. So just make sure that you have the conversations you have to have with the people that matter, that you have everything set up in your life, that you're in a position in your life, and this goes particularly if you're an adult, that you have, that you're in the stage of your life where you can devote the entire year in 7 days to live the way that you need to live. You just kind of have to have all your ducks in a row.
Very true.
And there's obviously, there's the money part about it because Santeria is very expensive, but people don't realize that, just because you have X, Y, and Z amount of money saved up to go and to do Ocha doesn't necessarily mean that you are yourself ready to go and do Ocha. Because it's more than just, having all these pretty pots and, doing these rituals and living this way day to day. It's a spiritual, energetic current that is released into yourself and into your life that stays with you forever. So, you just kind of reality check yourself before you decide to jump
into
full blown. Because once you...
But in order to practice the religion fully, you have to go through Cariocha ceremony. So people have to make the commitment that they really want to follow on through.
And there are going to be parts where you're going to have the opportunity to say, you know what, I don't think this is for me, and turn around, and that's okay, Orisha doesn't discriminate against anybody. Not everyone is destined to be a priest or priestess. And that's perfectly okay. There always has to be that balance. We always have...
The balance between adeyos and initiates, and some people just have different life paths. Some people are more Espiritista or Paleros or Wedge or something else that may not have to be precisely Orisha initiation. So there you guys have it. This is an interview with Angel Chimelis, Ayapa TME. He is a Olo Oya who initiated last year, and it's very interesting to get the insights from somebody who is an adult in America, who has gone through the Cariocha ceremony, who is now learning his way into the religion, because this is a lifestyle change that happens when you initiate into the religion and you become part of this other community, the same way that you go into any other society or group of people, and it all begins by becoming an Iyawo and going through the new and white and learning the basics, and then from that point forward developing into your own persona within the religion and expanding yourself further within life. So is there anything else that interests you of working inside of the religion?
Divination, actually, definitely. I find our system of divination to be fascinating in and of itself, because it's rarely do religions have sort of like a built-in divinatory system. Most modern religions have written canons, and we have an oral corpus of fables and proverbs and remedies and solutions that manifest through our divinatory system. So I definitely am excited about learning the mechanics of Dilogun, and to kind of delving into that aspect of the religion, because when it comes down to it, it's that's sort of our roadmap, if you will, for our everyday lives. Is our divination and what Orisha says to you while you're sitting on the mat.
So you'll be doing Medilogun divination for yourself and for clients, and besides tarot readings and things like that you already kind of offer and may do. Perfect, beautiful. Divination is definitely an essential part of the religion, and everything is prescribed and assigned and marked through divination, including the Alaipatori, which is the Orisha that rules the head, or where bosses can be discarded, or for how long, all those things, or what might be happening in a situation, all those things are marked through divination.
Right.
Beautiful point. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you have learned something from this video. I hope that you have enjoyed this interview. I hope that, Iyawo, you have enjoyed doing this video with me. If you guys have any questions, please send me an email at streetonyidesigns@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook by searching as Iyawo Bias. And I don't have a lot of social media going on, but those are my quickest ways of referencing me besides YouTube. Thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everybody. Ache, 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 do.